On this episode, we have Mitul Patel from Creatique Technologies. I thought it was a great conversation. Avinash, what were some of your takeaways?
Yeah, it was great. Just talking to Mitul. I won't say the funny thing. It's like people didn't know, but she was actually recording out of a retreat pretty late in the night for her during India. So that's like passion for you as a founder. But what struck to me the most was how true. It was very encouraging, but also how painful it was. Like just going through those stereotypes, the gender stereotypes and cultural stereotypes that she had to face like in the whole work environment. That's unfortunate, but also that's a harsh reality. But the way she navigated that was like very inspirational. I think like a lot of credit should go to her family. Like, she talks in an episode like how supportive was her husband, her family, parents, and in-laws. She also dives into like some of the cultural differences between India and US, which I think was quite enlightening, especially people who don't have the luxury of like a global exposure. Yeah, overall it was a great episode. And then finally, she also talks about her relationship with Salesforce, that how she picked a region where Salesforce had a lot of interest, like the best region of India, and that's like leading to like a lot of healthy relationship with Salesforce. So I think yeah, just a combination of like strong cultural roots, strong family, and just really being really smart about picking areas to focus. Yeah, those were, I think, the things that crossed my mind.
Great. It was an awesome episode. A lot of energy. Mitul has a lot of energy. I think she's in the just growth mode, and she's enjoys what she does. She has a passion for it. It's not that she goes around the clock, but she has a routine that she goes through as well. But one of the things that she mentioned, early on, some of the key things that Salesforce SIs or people trying to launch can take away is, she took all projects that came to her, regardless of the industry, the size, the type. And she just focused on, I need clients. Let's get some projects done. Let's get this thing going, get the revenue in the door. We'll figure things out later, essentially. But obviously, she also touched upon, after you do lift off, focusing in on certain areas at the right time, maybe finding your niche in certain projects. But earlier on, really building those relationships, taking projects as they come, get your experience, get your case studies, get the revenue, and then the networking side of things, which is even when you do that, you meet the AEs, you start building relationships throughout the ecosystem, you start getting confidence in your delivery, you start building your team. So she did touch upon how networking and with the Salesforce side, the AEs are critical as well. So she matched those two essentially perfectly and timed them perfectly to get her company and consultancy launched. So there's a lot of good information in there, a lot of good takeaways that people can digest essentially from a consultancy perspective or someone looking to launch. And then again, I think that the energy is awesome to see. Like you mentioned, she was at a retreat. We were glad that she could take time. It was late in the evening to talk with us on the podcast. It was definitely a fantastic episode with a lot of information and info for consultancies. Let's dive in. Thanks for joining today, Matul.
Hey John, hey Avinash, nice to join. And I love to be a part of podcasts. And it's heart to heart conversations, a lot of listeners, and love it.
Awesome. And we always typically start with background on company names, etc. So what was the kind of genesis and how you came up with the Creatique Tech name for the company?
So from initially like my college days and everything, I've always wanted my things to be unique. So unique was definitely one. And then I was very creative. So I thought, let me combine creative plus unique. So we came up with creative. But the more I started into it, working into the sales for solutions and all, I thought that it's nothing unique, right? You like do this day in, day out, pretty much same for every customer. Then of course there's a unique factor coming to it. So then I thought boutique is a better word rather than unique. And we switched it to creative plus boutique. And that's pretty much, like a good consulting firm that you should go with.
I love it. My company was like, because a lot of companies, we say it a lot, like Apex, Summit, 360, all that kind of stuff. I think it's a very unique name to say the least. So kind of taking a step back to get people to get to know you, what were you doing before you got into the Salesforce ecosystem?
So I started my career with Salesforce ecosystem. I was, right fresh out of my college. It's all young blood and you want to do something new and latest and trendy and cool. And then at the end of the day, you figure out that it's all .NET or PHP or web development, but you don't want to do that. So then I went into iOS development because that was like everyone was saying that iOS is good. That's what gonna pay you like good. So I was like, let me go ahead with it. But the story is, I never wrote a single line of code in my college. I couldn't write like C sharp codes at all. I used to like copy paste it from my friends. So I knew that I'm not going to be able to code, but my communication was really good. Every practice interview or interviews I've been to, people were like, you should definitely be in the business analyst role, but you have to be a developer at least for a year. And that is how I got into, like iOS development trainings, and eventually interviewed for just practicing for Aptus, which is now Conga. And after a few rounds of interviews, I told them about, I honestly am not a person who could code. And they were kind enough to suggest this role, which they had vacancy for, which was technical writer. And that's how I started my career in the Salesforce ecosystem with technical writing.
Interesting. That's I haven't that that's a interesting that's a unique one. That's a unique one that I haven't heard yet to that. Then I guess you're doing that, and then I guess how did you then transition into creating a company?
I'm a person who would like get into really deep into learning, and then I would get bored very easily as well. So I did technical writing for about 2 years or so. And then I transitioned into the professional services team as a configuration engineer. And from that point in time, it was onward and upward. I've done pretty much every role apart from coding. So I've been through as an admin, which is configuration engineer. Then I've done business analyst, project management. As a business analyst, of course, you test a lot of things, you give demos to the customer. So I've pretty much done QA, played a role of head of demo engineering at Daysworks. So I've done pre-sales and sales. So it's pretty much a 360-degree minus the coding. And then eventually I started working as an independent consultant a couple of years before I started my company. And that is the point when I realized that, I'm pretty much doing everything that an entrepreneur does, because solopreneur was the term at that point in time. And I was like, I'm ready to expand, into a team, into a bigger firm. And that's when I got that idea.
So this might be a sensitive question. And the reason I'm going to ask this question is because both of us come from the same cultural backgrounds, the same geography. Once upon a time, not anymore, but still, I'm pretty rooted to my Indian roots. And we both know for a fact that culturally, both nations, US and India, are very different. For what it's worth, stereotyping, it's still pretty relevant. Even when I was there, I think even today, that's a constant challenge that women have to face globally. But I can speak more for India because I come from that part of the world. Question for you is like, did you have to like fight any stereotypes when you chose to become entrepreneur, like at home, and then obviously like at work when like you approach customers saying that, hey, we are a new company, I'm the owner, we are a women-owned, women-led organization. So just curious to know, like, had you had any stereotype experiences? If you had, like, how did you deal with those?
So, to be honest, I did not ever think of starting my own company before I got married. So, I got married, and my husband and I were pretty much at peace. Like we have things, we are sorted in life. We don't, the life's good right now. We don't need any changes. But the moment my husband saw me working with the consulting companies in the US, he was like really impressed because he never knew me from this side. But I had like late night calls, so he would be in bed and listening to everything that I did. And suddenly he was like, why don't you start your own company? You're pretty much doing everything that an entrepreneur has to do. And our entire family is basically, like an entrepreneurial background on his side. So it was like, I'm here, you don't need to worry about it, just go with it, start. Even if you do little, I really don't care about the money that you get, but just give it a try. So my husband was actually the one who pushed me. But Avinash, as you correctly said, when it comes to India, the cultural aspect is like much more. And in your family, it's just not you and your husband, but then you have your husband, your in-laws, your parents, then the extended family. So everyone's very judgy about, things like, as you said. And I was actually the first woman in my in-laws side to go and work in India. Like there are people who are stationed outside India and they work. But in India, I was pretty much the first person to even work and start my own company, definitely the first one. So my family has been really supportive. My husband's a sweetheart. He helped me in everything. And he's been very open to all, how there are a lot of social functions to attend and, there's so much to do. So I actually do not work on any household chores at my home. I have the full capacity to just go and work, starting my day in the morning and maybe come home by 11. So I have that full support. My husband would tell me, hey, you don't need to be at this function because I know you have this project call. You just go ahead with it. You don't come. So I had like 150% of support from my husband, my family, and even my in-laws are like super sweet. They really don't care about if you work at home or not. You just go ahead and do your thing and we're good with that. So family support was the first that helped me or let me initialize my own company in that way.
It's amazing. That's very refreshing and very encouraging to hear. But how is the ecosystem? People who are not related to you.
Yeah. So to be honest, Salesforce industry is male dominated. Anytime, and you know this in India as well, maybe outside as well, that women are always, considered lesser than men in every terms because there's always factor that would she be able to handle it, would she be able to deliver it, would she be able to do it. So these kind of questions would always undermine your decisions, but you have to stay headstrong on things like I can do it. And today, even when we go into like competition or anything, you know that you can do better than men because you have that additional edge over a lot of things like empathy, understanding, being supportive to the customer. So now I play it across the edge and I have seen, ourselves winning deals where a lot of men are involved, but even when you go as a woman, you can just win the battle and come outside with a fresher take of the entire meeting.
And lastly, how was the team? For lack of a better word, did you had to play hard for folks to take you seriously? Did you ever experience that kind of a situation?
So I would not lie here, but I'll be very honest and say that I had been a little stricter with my team from the beginning, because you know that the industry, the people, everyone's not going to take you seriously if you do not commit or deliver that. Be a very lighter version and let things loose or let them flow or take their own shape. So I was like headstrong from beginning. And earlier, my team was like, we are actually afraid of you. But then I was like, if you do your work, I'm okay. You can do anything else on the earth. I really don't care about it, but you just gotta do the work when it's needed. And that's all I care about. And today also, I have great relationship with my team. I have my first employee who's still working with us. Of course, we did burn hands in a lot of projects or with a lot of people. Reason being, when we started our company, we were at a recession phase, like literally, I've seen people who were working like $250 an hour were straight to 60 or 70 at that point in time. At that point in time, my team was there to support me. And I was like, you got to give me 1 year and you'll see the progress that we make. And we did it. We did it together with the team.
Amazing. That's a fascinating story. Just to hear like how your family took a chance on you and how you paid back all the trust. Also, it also tells me that you are someone who's probably leading from the front, setting an example. For all our listeners, Mitul is actually the part of a team retreat in a place called Udaipur in India. It's currently it's almost like 10 p.m. India time, while her team is socializing. I'll just broadly put it that way.
That's a better word,
She's
yeah.
she's stuck with us on a podcast again, just leading by example.
It's a pleasure to be with you guys, so yeah, I'm enjoying it to the core.
It's awesome because a lot of times, families and friends, it's awesome that you have that support because a lot of times it's the opposite, like everywhere around the world, where they're like, "Are you sure you should do that? I don't know if it's a good idea." It's awesome to hear that you had that support because it's absolutely critical. Houses, the parents for sure, right? That they typically are the opposite and kind of want to do the safe route. So when you launched the agency, what did like the first version, like the first year or two look like? Or like the first even 6 months when you launched it? Did you get a couple clients? Were you trying to generate leads? Like I'm trying to figure things out. What was that first version of the company and what it looked like?
When I started my company, I was lucky enough to have that network of partners to support me with. So we had partners in the US and Canada that were like literally giving me business, and they were like very comfortable with me because I had worked with them in my previous companies. And I actually lead Ahmedabad Women in Tech Group. So I'm super active on it. I'm a marketing champion. So again, a lot of ecosystem knows me. And that way I was lucky enough to get those initial projects to keep my shop running when we started. And at that point in time, we took decisions like, we hired contractors, even if it lowered our margin, because we know we didn't want it to get on a fixed cost or anything, right? So we balanced it out in a way where things would, I knew that 1 year or at least first 6 months, we just have to survive rather than, going heavy on the margins or anything. And that actually worked out because initially we were just working with customers in US and Canada, and then I'm a very local rooted person. So I was like, if I can do this for customers in Canada and US, I know my people better and I can definitely dig in deeper. And after 6 months or so, we started to penetrate in the Indian market. And within 1 year itself, we had like 22 customers that we onboarded just from India.
That's awesome. That's 22. That's a lot in 1 year.
Yep.
So I didn't know that's a great number. So like, did you have a specific niche or did you have a specific area that you worked in at that point? Or was it all just kind of general Salesforce? We'll do whatever you need, Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, development, integration, APIs? Or did you focus even in on one area during that early phase?
Early phase was definitely broader. Like we didn't think about strategically into getting into specific niche. Reason being, we just had to get that volume of customers. So even if it was, like a 5 license user deal for Sales Cloud, we just go ahead and pick it up. And we actually, that's the reason we got into a lot of customers, because that helped us having that industry experience. Like today, if we are at pretty much the half approximately like 2.5 years into Creative Technologies. And now we have 20 plus manufacturing customers itself. And every small project we did helped us grow in terms of what industry needs, what industry does, how people behave. Because trust me, the customers in India and US are absolutely different. Like the basic model is in India, it's all fixed fee projects versus in US, it's more towards T&M. So that's the biggest, thing that you would have. And we didn't want to take chance on specific industries or a niche. So we went ahead like broad, and we pretty much picked up every project that came into our way.
So in spite of going broad, you still get a lot of love from Salesforce. And a majority of our audience, they're dealing with this problem of Salesforce just doesn't answer our calls. We are just unable to get their attention. Versus you, I wouldn't say undivided, but you have a lot of attention from Salesforce. And this is something you and I spoke about at length during our pre-calls because of the geography that you picked, not India's geography, but the region within India. So tell us more in terms of this. Was this something pre-planned? you knew that there was a gap, so you could use it to your advantage. Just tell us how the whole the West region thing evolved.
You're actually right. There was a lot of gaps in the West region because whenever I talk to Salesforce, the feedback that I got is they do not have good partners in the West region. And I was new, I was hungry. Initially, like 2 to 3 months, I would be very honest here, it was very tough to penetrate into the AE network because no one knows you. And unless you do 1 or 2 projects, no one's going to give you more projects. So in order to get those first couple of deals, it was like, January is like the closing year and they also want to close that deal. But at the same time, the customer doesn't have budget. And I was like, chuck it. I don't care. I'll pick it up. Let's just build that relationship with them. And that actually helped out a lot because today when a lot of partners struggle to, make that relationship, I have my network of A's who would just reach out to me directly and they would help me out in closing deals, saying that they go to the customers and they're like, hey, this is our preferred partner. We have worked with them on a lot of projects. And they would still suggest 2 more partners along with them. But then, the moment they talk with us, they would feel that comfort level with us rather than the other partners. So taking up any projects, any and every projects initially, that really helped us out. And then that also helped in building that relationship. And trust me, Salesforce A's are all about you deliver what you commit. And we did that, and that's what really helped us out.
Understood. And for our listeners who are not very familiar with the Indian landscape, West means like Mumbai is where, like Mumbai is like the far western part of India. So Mumbai is like the west coast of India. And you culturally coming or belonging to the western part of India, did that help at all, or did you have to like pack your bags and move from one city to another city?
So I'm based out of Ahmedabad, which is in Gujarat, and Gujaratis are known typically in the entire world for their business mindset and their businesses across. So even in the US or Canada, if you see, the moment you see any Patel or any Gujarati, you'll know that, yeah, there's this typical Guju. So they have all that business mindset. Now, what really played into our favor was Gujaratis here, they prefer a local partner in everything. Any tool that they buy, they want someone local. And they want to be able to either speak to them in Gujarati or they want to, be at their office or they want the partners to be at their office. So they wanted that physical touch. They wanted their regional language and they wanted someone in their regionality to be comfortable. So like Patel is really that last name that it's pretty much maybe 60% of people in Gujarati. So it's all like, hey, yeah, that's Patel. So they should do it. So that kind of scenario really helped us out and it played in our favor for sure.
Yeah, the Motel Patel is a big thing in the US. People know that.
I know, and I have a lot of relatives of mine there. They're like motel kings, and I know for sure.
It's interesting because typically um, the SI partners I know and talk to, and just the last 10 years, a lot of the founders are technical and they get surprised quickly when they're like, hey, I can hang up, start a company. I know Apex, I know development, I know Salesforce in and out. But when they go to market, they are essentially, I don't know what the right word would be. Reality hits them in the face, right? Where they don't know how to market, they don't know how to network, they don't know how to sell. And it seems like from what you're saying is like those soft skills, those entrepreneur skills, the knowing how to like talk to people, trust with clients, and the background that you had with business analysis and dealing with clients and all that aspect almost seems, especially nowadays, more important to build a business, to build a consultancy than the true raw skills. I don't know what your thoughts might be on that.
You're absolutely right. Like, let me talk to you about a deal that we closed yesterday. Whenever Gujaratis are there, they've dealt with a lot of people. So the moment any of the sales guys come to them, they have their guard up against them. The reason being they know the salesperson is going to oversell them right now. What really helped me out was I was techno functional persons. The meeting that I had yesterday, we were just going on and on about, what we have done, what we are good with, what kind of customers we have done. And at that point in time, he started giving examples of where he had bad experiences on, people coming in selling them tools. So I literally had to make this point that I'm not that salesperson who's going to oversell you. The moment you tell me a requirement, I am such a BA at heart and techno functional by mind that my mind will start, spinning up a solution for solving your problem. So it's not going to be lies and fluff when it comes to sales. It's going to be like actual solutions that are going to work out. And it's not just technical solutions, right? There might be a lot of internal processes that they might be breaking or behavioral aspects that we can help them with. So when we go into a partner, we go in as a digital partner and we definitely work with them in order to solve their problems rather than just selling them our services or Salesforce, and that's what really helped gain that trust. And the customers that we had on day one are still with us. Like we have picked up managed services for the projects that were, spoiled by other partners, but we do not have any of our customers who is going to another partner for their managed services. So that's the biggest win that we have today.
So it sounds like it's been a picture perfect journey. You started solo, then you started your company, you had support and everything. Everything's fallen in place, and you guys are in a growth trajectory. If you had to change anything since you started to date, is there anything that you have done differently?
I would definitely would have done more marketing or telling our stories. Like I'm not a big storyteller, and again, because of the same reason that I'm more techno-functional and BA in sort of a scenario, right, where I've not played a typical sales role. So this is what, played in our favor, and sometimes it had the same drawback because the storytelling part is keen and everyone's like impressed and fascinated by the stories rather than, giving them facts and figures and everything. So I think, yes, if I had to, redo anything, I would definitely get into the storytelling mode where we can, pretty much tell our story everywhere we go and online as well. So someone who comes on our website or on our LinkedIn page would know about the entire journey that we've been through.
And how are you doing that today? Like, have you guys started storytelling?
Yes, a lot of it. And we are now like very mindful and strategical about the posts that we do, how we want to do it, what is the message that we want to send across. So my posts are now going to reflect what I really think about, either it's a Salesforce product or a feature or how we got there, how I got here, how my team helped me out. So it's a combination of everything that, sort of helped me get here. And of course, the teams play a crucial role, right? So my team is my hero for sure.
Because storytelling never gets old.
I know. And you guys must have worked with Salesforce and you're like, no one does it better than Salesforce for sure. So that's something we all gotta learn.
Yep, and when you were talking before also about that deal that you or the close that you had yesterday, what I took away from and what I experienced as well is clients and customers want you to not be, let's say, a quote unquote order taker or someone that's just like, hey, we'll build whatever you want. Hey, here's a solution. And I think in my mind, what I thought of when you were talking about that is I think clients like being, this might not be the right word, challenged, or like, why do you really want to do this requirement? What's really behind it? And the ability to drill down, the clients want that. They want to kind of get a sense that you're going to ask good questions, understand what their business does, question them. Do you really want to do this? Or do you want to do it this way? What's the meaning behind this? What's the reason for the business behind this? And I think if I heard kind of what you were saying, is that kind of the aspects when you work with leads or clients of kind of the difference maker with especially your background that really makes a difference in terms of them choosing you versus other SIs?
Yeah, it definitely has. Like a lot of stories that revolve around the technical solutioning is we have seen it's more towards the behavioral aspect, right? And then there's mindset wherein we have seen people would say, and especially in Gujarat, where they're like very money minded because they are all businessmen, right? They are like, why would I pay you for the Salesforce licenses? I would rather pay someone like 15,000 rupees and let him do all the data entry job than give you, like a PUPM cost for like 50 users or so. So we have dealt with all these kind of people, and trust me, every new customer is new mindset, new personality. You will never feel like old because the customers are going to keep you on your toes. So going to customers, presenting with them with their challenges and giving them their solutions has always played out in a better way. Like this happens a lot in the requirement gathering meetings that you do. Of course, once the sales done, the deals closed, we're good, but that's not the win. My job actually starts when we start requirement gathering, and that's what all the customers love about it, because I put like 150% effort in selling, but then I go to 200% when it comes to requirement gathering. They're really happy about how involved I am into these projects. And it's not just about telling them, what you should do or what you should not do. It's more about showing them a mirror and saying that, hey, this is what the world is doing today. Even if it's a different industry, this is one of our customers who has done the same thing in a better way, and it helped them getting X outcome. So this is how we portray the things in front of the customer, show them, this is what we can do, how we can do, how you can do it better. And that definitely works in a great positive way when we work with the customers like that.
Right, because a lot of consultants are like, "Hey, we're $30 an hour, hire us," right? Right, and it's like, yeah, we hear that all the time, right? Like, they just kind of offer solutions or rates, but I think when you do the model that you're talking about and how you guys do it, like almost the money doesn't matter because they're getting so much value. They know they understand that you understand their business, their challenges that you're going to deliver. So that's it's great to hear, to say the least, that approach and how you work with clients and leads and all that stuff.
So
Absolutely.
how has AI adoption been, or like approach towards AI been among like the customers? Not talking about Bangalore, that those major cities, those are probably the outliers, but especially the region where the customers that you are catering to, has AI come up, or how has how are people?
No chance. No chance. AI. I'm just kidding. What's AI?
No, so actually that's not the case. We have customers who come to us and say, I don't know how you do it, but we want to do AI. No, I be like upfront with them and blunt with them. They might feel bad at the same time, but when it's a new customer, the AI is not going to be useful unless they have like 6 months of data, or 6 months of good data, actually, not even junk data, right? So what happens is usually customers will ask every 6 months, they'll maybe call you and say, hey, what's new? What should we do? And this is where we come into the consulting role and say, hey, buddy, let's sort out your org first, remove all the junk data, get into proper processes, and then talk about AI. So we have like 3 customers for whom we implemented Agentforce, and they were from Ahmedabad, they were from Mumbai, and they are using it nicely. But this is the route that we had to go through, and I had to tell them that I am absolutely happy to sell you Agentforce. I'm gonna get more money out of it. I'm going to get more money out of implementation, but it's not good for you at this point in time because you need those prerequisites to be done before you implement Agentforce. So luckily the customers have been understanding. And again, as I said, the good Jews have those mindsets where they will evaluate everything through pricing first and then everything else. So that is where, of course, we added value in a lot of customers, even with AI. With AI coming, typically each customer's mindset is they don't have to work because AI is doing all that work. We have to explain them that's not the correct thing. You can automate a lot of things. You can get value out of AI, but you still have that role because it's humans and AI together, right? It's not just AI who's going to do your job. Then why are you needed on the job? So we have to show mirror to the customers in order for them to be successful. And of course, if my customers are successful, I'm going to be successful. That's the motto that we run with right now, on the AI front.
So did these customers did they have to go and clean up their own data? Did they manage to clean up the data, or did you guys have to run like a data harmonization or a data cleanup exercise?
We did it with them because how it works is sometimes there's new person who doesn't know what to do, how to do, and they like messed up the org, or sometimes they knew but still the things were just lying there. So it was of course a combination of us and the customers, and we did it together. But of course there are a great amount of tools that will help you at least eradicate duplicates and clean up the data. So that's where we brought in a combination of us, customers, and tools to get things done on the data front.
It's interesting, and we ask this to everybody as well with the Salesforce ecosystem, the Salesforce SI ecosystem. Very different views on how things are for the ecosystem and the partners right now. What's your view overall on the Salesforce ecosystem and Salesforce SI partner ecosystem just in general? Is it tough? Is it saturated? Is it just they're not doing the right things to get clients? I guess what's your perspective on the ecosystem, especially with SI partners in 2025?
So the first point is it's definitely crowded at this point in time. There's SI partner every other street. They pretty much offer the same services. They pretty much offer the same rates. So now it all comes to the networking side of it, or your relationship basis on which you'll get the projects either from Salesforce or from customers directly. So that's one point. Second is we are at a very blind turn, and I want to be honest here and to keep everyone sane as well, because we have seen some of the tools that are like AI assistants who can actually do jobs in few minutes that actually takes us few hours. So that's the challenging phase. Of course, we want to be an AI front company, and we have partnered with a couple of AI partners who have their own tools, who are like AI digital assistants, etc. But at the same time, we want to bring in the human factor as well. We cannot like forget that, because, and this is the funny, and everyone will agree with me, if your customer is not able to give you the correct requirements, do you think it's going to be able to give it to the assistant, the AI assistant, and let them implement the entire solution for them? So that's not going to work out, we know for sure. But what SIs can do right now is work with those AI tools and make it part of your implementation. That way, your implementation cycles are going to be much shorter, and that can actually play as a USP where other companies who might take, let's say, 6 weeks, you can do the same work within a couple of weeks, and you can say that, hey, this is a faster turning point for us rather than other partners. So just play AI card on your favor by using AI rather than just getting worried about it and saying that, hey, it's very difficult. I don't know if my company will exist in 3 years or not, but you got to do it, what you got to do.
So it sounds like you have a pretty long schedule. You work really, really long hours. Tell us a little bit about your daily routine, like, what time you're, early bird, things that you typically like to do before getting into work mode. Just tell us about your lifestyle.
My lifestyle is really bad right now, and I would not recommend having it to anyone. I'll tell you the reasons. I rarely work out. I work out like 1 or 2 days a week max, which is bad. I want to do it like 5 days a week. That's my intention. Second thing is my wake up time depends on, like the number of calls that I had during the night. So again, not an early bird at all. I need my 8 hours of sleep. If I've slept at, 2 a.m., I'm going to need to 10 a.m. to wake up. So I have had all these kinds of challenges for sure. But the one mindset that I have is if I wake up, I'm going to be like all 100% woken up and, not be in a zombie mode or, a Blair mode and not working or anything like that. If I'm awake, I'll just start working on my work and finish my chores, whatever I need, and go to office, be there at office. Again, there hasn't been a single day where I feel like I want to go home and take a nap for 30 minutes or do something like that. If I am into office, I'm there with my team. At the moment I can, go back home and have my dinner and anything, I just do that and then hop back on to all my US customers because they pretty much come in, from maybe 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. India time. So that way I actually work for and on an average of about 10 to 14 hours a day. And then I'm pretty much at the office or at home working. And then relaxation for me is my Netflix. Again, this is very bad and I would not recommend it, but I need my 30 minutes of Netflix before sleep and I will like fall asleep by watching Netflix. So again, very bad habit, not recommended at all, but that's like my, go to peace after a long day and I would feel relaxed and go to sleep and again back to grind the next day.
It's awesome. The hitting it right away. I know we were talking before we started. I've been on like 8 cups of coffee just to kind of keep cruising throughout the day. But that's awesome to hear. I guess moving forward, we always typically end kind of with this question with all the guests. But I guess what's the future look like for Mitul and Creative Technologies, and where do you see things going in the next 3 to 5 years?
So one major decision that we had to make as a company was the product versus service. And pretty much at some point in time, every founder in Salesforce ecosystem must have gone through this. So I was very fascinated by Steve Jobs and the way he launched his products. And I was like, I want to do this at some point in time. And I would love to do that. So we were like all services until now, but now we are getting onto the product mode as well. Again, we are like absolutely new to it. So, we take mentorship from a couple of people and we try and understand how to launch it, what to do, what should be the pricing, etc. But in next 3 to 5 years, you would watch me launch more products and, maybe work with like AI giants in a way where we can actually make a difference and deliver more solutions rather than the traditional way of consulting.
That's awesome. I mean, typically, a lot of times people are like, I don't know where things are going and this and that, but like you have like a vision. It's great to have like a vision and have a direction of where you're going and not kind of pivoting all the time. It's been an awesome episode with a lot of information that Salesforce consultancies and partners and people even looking to launch a consultancy can take away in terms of the relationships, the networking, how to build a company, what really matters, etc. So there was a ton of information and value for the ecosystem and SI partners. And I don't know, Avinash, it was a great episode. Did you have anything else, Avinash, you'd like to ask or add as well?
No, it was great. And thank you so much for being so honest and transparent. I'm sure there are really, really good learnings that our audience can take out of this episode. Wish you all the best, Mitul. Hopefully, we can meet sometime whenever I'm in India. We'll be on the sidelines rooting for you and your company. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. And we will definitely meet at Dreamforce, Avinash and John. And it was so great to be here. Of course, as an entrepreneur, it's your dream to be on, like good podcasts. And this was definitely in one of my wish lists. And I really thank you for having me here today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mitul. It was awesome. And we'll talk soon. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you.